What's going on, everybody? Tim from Tirfon Orbital. So today's going to be a little bit more of an in-depth video on an install that I completed late last week. This is a custom install for a Boone Kestis themed lightsaber. This hilt in particular is from TXQ. It was sent to me by the client after being weathered and modified externally by Auston at Astoria Workshop. It's Boba Fett themed on the outside. Really unique looking hilt to begin with, right? But Auston really did a unique job with the paint scheme and adding some Boba Fett Mandalorian stuff on the outside of it. So really cool looking hilt. Really unique install. So I've done a Boone or two before in the past. So this is essentially the same chassis, the same install that I've done in previous ones. So we've got, as I said, this hilt is huge, right? So there's so much room for activities in this hilt. So what I ended up doing was I've got a resin piece that's in the pommel here that it animates. This is a Speakerpod as well. We've got our main chassis, and of course we've got the upper section of the hilt. There's a lot going on chassis-wise in this, so I do want to come into Fusion and talk about that really quick, and then we'll do a demo, right? So let's come down into Fusion. All right, here it is. As I said, there's a lot going on, right? So I know that initially when I did the first install on one of these, I did want to get some sort of animation in the pommel, right? So this is the Speakerpod. Little interesting setup for a Speakerpod, okay? The speaker does rest on these fins, and I also have a Neopixel ring that sits down in this channel, and that's what animates this post, right? And this post is sticking out on the inside of the pommel. So I wire up that Neopixel ring, I squeeze my leads past the speaker, and then the speaker sits on top, okay? Then these two glue together, and up top I've got a 5-rail PCB. This 5-rail is from Stardust Sabers, and that, we need 5 conductors for the Neopixel ring as well as the speaker, right? So that sits in here, and that all lives in the pommel. On the other end of the main chassis is where I've got my female end of that 5-rail PCB. Here's the main body of the chassis. Pretty straightforward. I've got greeblies pretty much everywhere. The Proffieboard does sit in this tray. It slides up underneath this lip to help it secure in place. I've got plenty of room down here for my wire management. The chassis is a static chassis, so it is held in place in the upper part of the hilt with some set screws, okay? And then in the main body of the hilt, I have a switch holder and the PCB emitter. They all sit in one chassis. So I've got 2 tactile red button, the little like red tactile switches. They sit in these channels, and then the PCB is up top. And that is all wired in place, right? Little bit complicated. I was about to say it's, pretty straightforward. It's not really straightforward. I mean, there's a lot going on in this, but I really did like the application of having, some animation in that pommel, right? It might not be canon or film accurate or game accurate, but I'm okay with that, right? All right, so anyhow, let's come up top and take a look at this hilt. So here it is. This is the Boone Kestis hilt from TXQ. It has been given the Boba Fett treatment. So we've got some really unique paint scheme on this. We've got that olive green and red Boba Fett paint. We've got really, I actually just noticed this today, that there's like some faux patina down here on this faux copper ring. Really interesting application that Auston did to this guy, right? But yeah, pretty straightforward, right? So we've got our pommel here. Pommel does unscrew. Okay, there's our 5-rail PCB. Grip does unscrew as well. And here is the chassis. So I did do this chassis in Army green, Boba Fett green. To me, it was a no-brainer to have the chassis match the outside of the hilt. So I just did a simple pass of Tamiya army green on that guy. Battery tray is here. Here is our kill switch. So let's go over how to use this guy, right? You want to, spring side is your negative, so flat part of your battery goes in the battery tray. You are not going to hear an audible cue when you put your battery in because the pommel is not attached yet, right? So you put your battery in, screw on your grip, screw in your pommel, and there we go. We already have an animation here, so we know that we've made a good connection. So each font is a little different. With this particular font, there is a pulsing animation down here in this, this resin piece. This is set up as its own blade, so this can be configured and edited as you see fit, right? So, there we go. Let's come down to the bottom. Okay, so here we go. Different animations for each font on that guy. Lit PCB emitter. See what else we got on here.
That's emitter will be your grave.
So if you're looking at the hilt, there are two switches here, right? The upper switch is your main, lower is your aux.
The dark side, my master.
All right, let's put a blade in it. Okay, so this is a 1-inch blade holder. You want to stick your blade in and rest it on those PCB pins. There is a silver grub screw or set screw in the front here. Something I really appreciate about that is it is an M4 set screw. I appreciate bigger set screws. They help to bite that blade down a little bit better. So tighten that set screw and you're ready to go.
I must be cautious wherever I go.
Don't talk back to your elders, child.
One more. I gotta be careful in here. I don't want to break my ceiling fan. All right, anyhow, so that's it, right? So I just wanted to go over and, quickly this particular hilt. It's just an interesting application. This pommel being so wide open down here, to me, I wanted to get some kind of interesting animations down there. So anyhow, to the client, thank you very much for trusting me with your build. If anyone has any questions about this particular install or any questions at all, please don't be a stranger. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Thanks for watching, everybody.